Today we will be solving a question from combination. Topic is from combination. Let us see the question. If the total number of ways of selecting for two numbers from the set, which means we will only select two different numbers from this set, such that the sum is divisible by 3, which means the sum of the digits when we add, it should be a multiple of 3. That's the idea. If k is k, which means which means the total number of ways of selecting, which means if the total number of ways of selecting for two numbers from this set such that their sum is 3 is k, which means this k is the total number of selections. K is the total number of selections, and we need to find the value of k divided by 500. So we need to find how many selections are possible such that when we select two numbers, then we add, it should be a multiple of 3, which means it shouldn't give a remainder when we divide with the 3. Now see this. If I take a number multiple of 3n is a multiple of 3, what will be the next number? If it is a natural number, it will be increasing 1 by 1, which means the next number will be 3n plus 1, and the other number will be 3n plus 2, and the other number will be 3n plus 1. 3n plus 1, 2, 3, 3. Which means if we add 1, we will get the next digit. If we again add 1, we will get another digit. If we again add 1, we will get the next digit. What is this? This digit is 3n plus 1. Which means this is one multiple of 3, and this again forms a multiple of 3. Which means whenever we come across two consecutive multiple of 3, there will be always two numbers. For example, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, two numbers, then two multiple of 3. 7, 8, 9. When we take two multiple of 3, there will be two consecutive numbers. From this, one of the digit in between these two consecutive multiples should give a remainder 1, and another digit should give a remainder 2 when we divide with the 3. That's the idea. Which means whenever you take two consecutive multiple of 3, when we divide these numbers, the multiples will give a remainder 0, and one of the digits should give a remainder 1, and another should give a remainder 2. That's a logic. It should be there. Whenever you take whatever the value, you will get there. Now the idea is, if you take numbers 1 to 9, how many multiples of 3 are there? 3, 6, 9. Which means 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 multiples are there. If you take numbers from 1 to 90, how many multiples of 3 will be there? 90 divided by 3. Which means among these numbers, the given numbers, among these 90 digits, 30 numbers will be a multiple of 3. 30 numbers will be a multiple of 3. Now, if you take two consecutive multiples of 3, there are 2 digits. If you take 3 consecutive multiple of digits, there will be how many numbers are there? You can also check like this. If you take two consecutive multiple of 3, there is a 2 numbers are in between, which means two in between two interval, two multiple numbers, two consecutive numbers, there is an interval. If you take 3 multiples, it will be 1 interval, 2 interval. How many digits are there? 2 into 2. Here is 2, here is 2. If you take 4 consecutive multiple of 3, 1 interval, 2 interval, 3 interval. How many digits are in between? 2, 2, 2. Which means 3 into 2 times. Which means if you take 30 numbers, 30 multiples, if you take 2 in consecutive multiples, there will be 1 interval. 3 consecutive multiples, there are 2 intervals. If you take 30 multiples, there are how many intervals are there? 29 intervals are there. Which means 29 numbers which will give 1 remainder, and 29 numbers which should give 2 remainder. See, in between two numbers there are 1 interval. 1 interval represents 2 different numbers. One will give a remainder 1 and another will give a remainder 2. Which means if you take 30 multiples of 3, there are how many intervals are in between? There are 29 intervals in which two numbers consisting on each interval 3. One will give a remainder 1 and another will give a remainder 2, which means these are the two possibilities. Now there are 0 and 1. 2 is from 0 and 3 there are 1 and 2. We haven't taken that 1 and 2. So if you take 1 and 2, if you divide 1 with 3, remainder is 1. If you remainder 2 with 3, remainder is 2. By default, there are 30 multiples of 3 and 30 numbers which will give a remainder 1, and there are 30 numbers which will give a remainder 2. That's the condition. Now we need the selection. How many possible ways we can select numbers which will give a remainder 0, which means so the sum is divisible by 3, which means remainder is 0. Now if I take two multiples of 3, if we add, it will be a multiple of 3, which means if you take any of the two from this case, it will always, the sum will always divisible by 3. So I can take any two numbers from this case. Now if I am taking any number from this case, for example, one which is giving a remainder 1 and another which is giving a remainder 2, if I add, it will be 3 into n plus m plus 1, 1 plus 2, 3, which means it again forms a multiple of 3, which means I need to take any one of the digit from this case and any one of the digit from this side, which means this combination will give a two numbers such that if we add, the remainder will be 0 when we divide with the 3. Now I can find how many combinations are possible. I can find the value of k. What will be the value of k? K is equal to, I need to select 30 numbers from this multiple of 3, which will be 30C2, and the other possibility from one from this and one from this, it will be 30 into 30. As it is not the permutation, we don't need to do it double. The order doesn't matter. So we can directly take it as 30 into 30. What will be the value of 30C2? 30 into 29 divided by 2 plus 30 into 30. Now I am not simplifying this value. What I am doing is that I am taking the common part and I am taking the common value 30. 30 into 30 plus 29 divided by 2. Now what will be the value of k divided by 500? We can divide the value of k with 500 and we can check the value. K divided by 500. K divided by 500 will be equal to 30 into 30 plus 29 divided by 2, the whole divided by 500. Now 5 cancel. Now how can we solve this question? See, what I am doing is I am multiplying the numerator and denominator with 2. So the 50 will become 100. Now I can put the decimal directly. Now what is half of 29? Half of 28 is 14. It will be 14.5. Now 14.5 plus 30 will be 44.5. 2 times 3 will be 6. So it will be 6 into 44.5 divided by 100. So what I am doing is I am taking this, splitting is 2 into 2 times 44 will be 89. The whole divided by 100. What I have did is I have written this as 2 into 33 again and I have multiplied with the 2. It will be 88 plus 1, it will be 89. Now what will be the value? 3 times 8 will be 240 plus 3 times 9 will be, what will be the value? 27. It will be 762. And if you put this decimal value, it will be 2.67. So our answer will be k divided by 100 will be, k divided by 500 will be equal to 2.67. So our question is solved. This is how you can solve this question. In every question there will be a core idea. If you get that target idea, you can solve this question. It's really easy.